They call it the Island of Whispers, a place where the living fear to tread and the dead refuse to leave. Poveglia Island, hidden in the misty waters of the Venetian Lagoon, is more than abandoned. It's cursed. Over centuries, this patch of land has swallowed thousands of lives and countless souls, and yet its story remains shrouded in mystery, a dark secret kept by the waters around it. But tonight we're breaking the silence. Tonight we're taking you to the haunted heart of Poveglia, where history and horror collide. Few dare to even speak its name. Poveglia, a small, unassuming island in the Venetian Lagoon, cloaked in layers of history and tragedy. Locals refer to it as the Island of No Return. From the moment you set eyes on it, you feel its pull, a silent scream echoing across the water, a whispering dread daring you to step closer. But it wasn't always this way. In 421 AD, Poveglia was a haven, a refuge for those fleeing barbarian invasions. Here, families built lives in peace, shielded from the chaos of the mainland. For centuries, the island prospered, a small, idyllic community. Then came the war. In 1379, Venice was under siege by the Genoans. Poveglia, no longer a sanctuary, became a battlefield. Its residents were forced to abandon their homes, fleeing for their lives. When the fires of war subsided, the island remained eerily silent, its soil soaked in ash and blood. In the shadow of the Black Death, Poveglia became something far more sinister. By the 17th century, it had been repurposed as a quarantine station, a dumping ground for the diseased and dying. Ships suspected of carrying the plague were rerouted here, their passengers condemned to an agonizing end. Poveglia's soil grew rich with the ashes of the dead, its air heavy with the stench of despair. They say the ground itself is cursed, an unnatural mixture of dirt and human remains. More than 100,000 souls met their end here, their bodies burned and buried in mass graves. It is whispered that the island absorbs the agony of the dying, that their restless spirits linger in the suffocating air. Centuries later, Poveglia's dark legacy took a horrifying twist. In 1922, an asylum was constructed on the island, a place meant to house the mentally ill, but which became a breeding ground for horror. The head doctor was a sadistic man, obsessed with finding cures through grotesque experiments. Lobotomies conducted without anesthesia were routine. Patients' screams echoed across the lagoon, but no one came to help. Legend has it, the doctor himself fell victim to the island's curse. Consumed by his own madness, or haunted by the vengeful spirits of those he tortured, he climbed the bell tower and leapt to his death. Witnesses claim a dark force pushed him, while others say his tormented soul remains bound to the tower, where the bell rings faintly, though it has long since been removed. After the asylum closed in 1968, Poveglia was abandoned once more. But the stories didn't stop. Locals speak of ghostly figures walking among the ruins, of disembodied cries drifting across the water at night. Even fishermen steer clear, claiming their nets come back empty, or worse, tangled with human remains. The Italian government forbids access to Poveglia. Officially, it's for safety reasons. The buildings are unstable, the terrain treacherous. But locals believe it's something far darker. Poveglia's curse ensures that those who enter never leave the same. Despite the warnings, thrill seekers and paranormal investigators have tried to uncover the island's secrets. They report feelings of being watched, of unseen hands brushing against them, of whispers in an unknown language. Some flee in terror, while others are never heard from again. Poveglia stands as a monument to humanity's darkest chapters, a place where history and horror are inseparably intertwined. It is a reminder that some places are best left forgotten, their secrets buried beneath the weight of centuries. But if you listen closely, the island's whispers still call, tempting the brave or the foolish into its embrace. So, if you find yourself in Venice, gazing out at the lagoon, resist the urge to look too long at the island in the mist. For Poveglia doesn't just remember, it waits. As the tides rise and fall, Poveglia remains, a silent witness to centuries of suffering. They say the island calls to the lonely, the curious, the reckless. But those who answer are seldom heard from again. Perhaps it's better this way, to leave its stories buried in the ashes of the past. But what if the whispers of Poveglia reach beyond its shores? What if the shadows it holds so tightly find their way to the living? Would you dare to uncover the truth, knowing the price might be your soul? The island of no return waits in the mist, its secrets veiled in decay and despair. And somewhere, deep in the ruins, a single question lingers. Will it claim its next victim? Or is it already watching you? The screen fades completely to black, leaving only the soft, chilling sound of a bell tolling once, echoing into silence. Poveglia is more than just a place. It is a scar, etched deeply into the fabric of time. Its haunted shores remind us of the fragility of life, the inevitability of death, and the horrors we inflict upon one another. Perhaps it's the weight of its history that keeps the island cloaked in silence, or perhaps it's something darker, something waiting, watching, biding its time. No matter how far we move from its shores, Poveglia's legacy endures. It exists in the whispered tales of fishermen, in the nightmares of those who dared to explore it, and in the unspoken fear of what might still lurk in its shadows. And so, it remains, a forbidden island in the Venetian Lagoon, a place where the living have no claim, and the dead never leave. Some mysteries are better left unsolved, and some places, like Poveglia, are best left alone.